welcome back to this episode of Hypnotist Exposition. If you have missed the first part, you have missed the best show we've ever produced. We're back with Kristin,
yes.
And Kristin was talking about her anxiety issues, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that. We're going to come up with a solution for her to better manage herself, and we'll do some hypnosis later on in this part of the show. All right, so Kristin, what were you talking about before? You were talking about how we were talking about how your expectation of your friends, and especially the friends that are closest to you, to behave in a certain way, the same way that you would expect your parents, who are also very close to you, to behave in a certain way.
Right.
What kind of expectation do you have for your friends?
I guess whatever I feel like I give them, I want back. And I feel like I almost give all kind of thing, where like in many situations, like, oh, you need to borrow money, no problem. Oh, you know, like I need to wait an extra hour for you, that's okay, you know. Oh, you need me to pick you up, you're 45 minutes away, that's all right, you know, like, you know, maybe give me some gas money, but if you don't, okay, you know. If anyone were to ever give me a ride, always giving them gas money or some sort of reimbursement, little things like that.
Have they been nice to you? This, like, without the, okay, what would you expect them to behave towards you?
I guess nice.
Okay.
Respectful.
In just words?
Oh, and everything. Yeah, I mean the way they talk to me, like.
Do they wait for you?
Yeah, I would expect that.
No, do they really wait for you for things, or do they just drove off and see you later?
No, I guess I never had that really happen. I did have that happen once, but I just quickly realized that in my book that's not a friend. So.
And you know, if you do ask for gas money back, do you think they are going to pay you back?
I've learned to not expect it, I guess, which is something that has been a frustration sometimes with friends, where you feel like you went out of your way to drive them somewhere or to pick them up, and like you might get a thank you, but that's it, and that's kind of like, oh, okay, I know we're friends, so I don't mind doing this, but just feeling like that little extra respect of someone where like they might not know my financial situation, so yes, I am doing it out of the goodness of my heart, but like, even if you threw me like $5, you know, something like that would be nice.
Do you feel that it is more like the way they handle the courtesy, rather than not actually paying you back, that is bothering you the most?
Oh yeah, when it comes down to it, it's not really the money, it's just, yeah, the courtesy thing, definitely.
Okay. And realistically, right? How realistic, now in terms of evidence, how realistic do you feel your expectation is?
I feel like it's spot on. I feel like what I expect isn't like too much, I guess. Just because I feel like usually I would do it if I were them, whatever that may be.
Okay. But in a way, don't you think that you are trying to make people do things, and if they don't come out the way, you know, it seems like your frustration is when the way you imagine people.
Oh yeah, and it's not that way.
Right.
Yeah, that it'll be a disappointment, it'll be a frustration, yeah.
And in terms of evidence, like, do you feel that it is, and so far, it's something that is not realistic?
I don't know.
And especially closer friends, right? Like,
yeah.
Like for people that you don't know well, they will be like, you know, nice to you. They will be
Yeah, I guess that's something like with a perfect stranger.
For the closer the friends are, the less they care about these things, right? You know.
Right. Yeah.
You know, when you are around buddies and just punch your arm and things like that.
Yeah,
strangers don't really do that. You know?
Yeah.
And isn't it more like a impossible thing that you are looking for? You know, it's something that is intimate at the same time. You know, express the social rituals of strangers.
Maybe. I never thought of it that way.
Right, so in a way, now there's no excuse when husband doesn't say I love you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm on your side. Well, first of all, I won't say little things, right? I don't want to piss people off.
Yeah.
A lot of people will not like me for saying that, but for like, it's just not something that has a lot of substance in it. Like, it would mean a lot to you, right?
Yeah.
Maybe for those things, like, you know, like saying I love you or give you a hug and things like that. Maybe those should be communicated.
Or like I'm sick and they give me a card. Or like they like get a little $1 balloon from the grocery store or something, like a smiley face. I don't know.
That's what stalkers do to the actresses.
I wouldn't consider a friend a stalker though if they did that.
No, but like, have you been in the hospital?
Yeah, once or twice, but not like overnight kind of thing. No.
Yeah. How would you know that they're not going to do that? A, and B, I guess for like your closest circle, maybe you could make it clear. I think it is a perfectly reasonable conversation to have with your husband.
Right.
To say, you know, I'll feel better if you do this, right? You know.
Right.
And it may take time.
Yeah.
For him to learn this.
Yeah, and that is something that we had to work on, like where I had to learn to communicate without yelling or getting mad. That this is something I wanted, or this is something that like made me feel better. And yeah, it has been a learning process on like both ends for me and my husband.
And it continues to evolve, you know.
Yeah.
And
sometimes I learned to not. I have learned in certain things not to be as frustrated or hurt by something, because I start to realize that that's like what it is instead of it being offensive.
Right. And I guess for your friends, right? I can't speak for them. But and I'm sure that a lot more happened that we have not had a chance to talk about in the last, like, you know, half an hour or so.
Right.
But it sounded like it is more like they are being close to you. That would explain why they just not have the same level of like a distance courtesy that strangers would have for one another. You know?
Yeah.
When the bartender gives you a beer, you know, they say, hey, thanks. But like when your friend asks you a beer, you just start drinking. But that is a expression of them being close to you, right? Now, do you think you can change or work on your expectation?
Well, yeah, I guess now I could, because I've never had anyone say that before. Like, what you said about like how I'm expecting a best friend to give me courtesies of what a stranger would do, and I never thought of it that way, because in my head, what I was doing wasn't a stranger courtesy, it was just something that I do naturally. And since for me it felt natural, I guess I felt like it was an okay expectation.
And I don't know this, right, but like, it sounds like when something happened to you and you need your friends, there's nothing suggesting that they would not return that courtesy to you. But so far you have been like the kind of like the person taking care of everything. kind of role that in a lot of your grandchildren. All right, so if everything works well today, how would you like to feel differently?
Just feel more at ease with things, like being able to accept a situation and like not blame myself necessarily or blame anyone else for it. Like, I guess that's another issue, is like my anxiety or stress causing me to, like, there needs to be a reason that it happened, and a lot of times it will get put on myself, and then once it's been put on myself for a while and built up, then it explodes on someone else as soon as they do something wrong. So I guess for me to be able to sit back and like do that count to 10 thing, in my head there's really not a count to 10.
Okay.
Like,
well, we just counted really quickly.
Yeah, like it just doesn't, like, there's no, like, in my head I feel like I've made
was it rational, or was it just forced out from inside?
The reaction is not necessarily, what did you say? It's not.
Did you have a chance to think about it before?
Yeah, the reaction is not necessarily rational.
Okay.
However, my thinking, like my line of thinking is, but usually my reaction is up here, and like so many times my husband has said, like in our fights, like I will be saying one thing, but because I'm screaming those words, he thinks that I'm not being rational. Whereas later on, once I've calmed down and I repeat those exact same words, he's like, oh, well, why didn't you just say that? And I was like, I did say it. I was screaming it. Did you not hear me? And he's like, well, I thought you were just yelling and mad, so I wasn't even like listening. Like I thought you were just overreacting. And that's a lot of times what happens, is like the reaction is too big. My logic is there, but my reaction is so high that my words a lot of times will get ignored.
Right.
So it's been a bad pattern, something I've worked on through counseling and stuff, but that's something that, for me, I'd like to be able to get over with.
What is your most effective tools that you learn, or are they not effective at all? Or would you like something new? So I'm thinking we can just use hypnosis to remind you to practice those exercises.
Yeah, or like
we can come up with something.
Yeah, so, like where, like when I feel a certain way, that something would kick in to remind me, like no matter how anxious I'm feeling, something would kick in to remind me, like, watch your reaction. Like you might be thinking through this perfectly logically, but if you're not going to talk to the person about it, they won't even hear what you're saying, because all they will feel is like the anger or the emotions that I'm radiating, and not what I'm actually saying. And so that's, yeah, one of my biggest things is like letting my anxiety or my frustrations explode through emotion, and then people don't hear what I'm actually saying. That's caused, like, I guess some of the biggest problems for me.
But okay, so how would you like to feel different? In a short sentence. 2 sentences most.
Peaceful.
Okay. How would you like to think differently?
I guess maybe with the whole friend expectation thing, maybe now not taking things personally. Because before, in my head, it was a little more personal. Like they were a best friend and they didn't do that.
Right.
Like, why do they feel like they don't owe me that?
Right.
And instead, that's a stranger courtesy. It's not, like, as best friends, that courtesy shouldn't have to be there anymore.
Right.
Because you know that person cares about you. Right. So, yeah, that too.
Okay. What about behaving? How would you like to act differently?
I guess the whole, we talked about earlier with what I would be saying to myself, like, and like I would be, like a situation happens and I'm blaming myself for it happening, that would happen less, just because I think it greatens the anxiety that I feel and the frustrations and the helplessness, because I'm putting myself down the whole time, and so then I can't ever better myself or my situation because I'm only putting myself down about it.
Okay, so how would you like to act differently? What you just described is how would you think differently?
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess I speak out loud sometimes too, so. But
maybe like not yell would be.
Yeah, sure. Not yelling.
Talk with your inside voice.
Yeah, using, yes, an inside voice, or not driving recklessly to get somewhere because I have anxiety. Or like like going to a party or a club or something and like drinking just too much because my day had been stressful. I guess where like excessive behaviors will come in because I'm feeling anxiety.
That's like 4 episodes of it.
Is it?
Just kidding. Well, you said you do not want to act a certain way, right?
Right.
How would you like to act? What kind of
How would I like
words?
to?
As in not running away from things, but vacation.
Goodness, I guess I've never even thought of that.
Because like, it is very hard to not do something.
Right.
Yeah. Because what would you do instead?
I guess instead of being like, oh my gosh, you're stupid, like I can't believe you did this, why did you do that, why did you do that, instead of like, next time Kristin, do this, next time Kristin, do that, you know.
What would that be?
It would, I don't know, it would be just, it'd be a total different like mindset, I guess, for me. Like just more
That's what
positive
we're trying
mindset.
to do.
Yeah.
How would you behave differently? Talk softly, I think.
Yeah, talk softly and breathe. That's one thing that definitely I've been trying to focus on is the breathing thing. And my husband suggested I should start yoga because meditation is good for people. So little things like that where I'm able to kick the anxiety or frustration, and I'm able to just accept what's going on and be happy and like just go with the flow kind of thing. I guess ultimately go with the flow. And
okay, so just sit back and relax. We have to get this started soon. Give your cue flat on the floor.
Okay.
Just hold out your arms like this, and I would like you to just press onto my hand as lightly as possible.
Okay.
Now, hypnosis is not sleep. At any time, you will not be unconscious at all.
Okay.
You'll still be aware of what's happening around you. It is kind of like just before you fall asleep, where you just let everything happen. Nothing bothers you. Sometimes there could be images that flows in front of your eyes. Just follow those images. Or there are different thoughts that flow through your mind. Just follow those thoughts. And the important thing is to just let go, let it happen.
Okay.
And let yourself enjoy the process.
Okay.
Just keep pushing down on my hand as lightly as possible. As soon as the palm touches your knees, I'd like you to just close your eyes and let yourself drift to sleep.
Okay.
Take a deep breath in. Just stay there just a second. Can you make hands backwards? Feel free to. Reach for the moon. Or if you close your eyes, just like that way. You might feel the warm light of the sun on the tip of your nose. You feel the warm light of the sun on your cheek, your shoulder, your arm. It will make you feel very relaxed. Big hands. Very comfortable. 3, 2, 1. Close your eyes. Stay with us. Feel the warm light of the sun on the tip of your nose. And still hear the sound of the sun. feeling?
Good.
Good, good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Sleep well. See yourself go. You count 3 months of again. One, two for the last one. How are you?
Good.
Good. Take a deep breath in. What's up here? And sleep down. Just allow your body to sink into the softness of the chair. Each number it counts. Feel yourself trusting into resisting. Into resisting. 5, 4, 3. Allow yourself to sink through the softness of the chair. 3, 2, 1. Sleep now. That's right. Now, Kristin, I would like you to imagine a long white light coming in from the top of your head, slowly surrounding you all the way down, flows through onto the toes of the toes. Wherever this light touches, you release all the frustrations that you may have right now. You release all the negative emotions you may be feeling. You release all the anxiety that you may have right now. Now, these feelings may have helped you in the past, but you no longer need them. They're no longer a part of you, and you can just release them back into the universe. That's right. Feel this white light and tying all those knots in your mind and nostrils inside the body, even your knees and toes. Even you may not be able to good, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for coming by. We'll talk more in the hallway.
Okay.